Are you looking to write a resume and you have no experience and you're not really sure what to do? Well, stick around because in this video, I'm going to share with you some tips on writing a resume without any experience. Hey everybody, it's Brian from Life After Layoff. Today I want to share with you some resume tips, especially if you're early in your career or you're somebody that's looking to make a shift into an entirely new job type. Obviously, for most of us, resume writing is going to be one of those important components when we get started in a new job search. We have to convey a clear and effective fit, especially in a very tight job market where you're competing with potentially thousands of other candidates. And so a poor resume will end you up in the rejection pile, whereas an excellent resume might not guarantee that you're going to get the phone call, but it's certainly going to increase your chances. But when you're entry level, it can be very difficult and daunting to write a resume because you've got nothing to put on it. And the same thing goes with changing job types. How can you convey a clear and effective fit when you don't have any demonstrated experience to work with? So in this video, I'm going to share some tips on how to start building that resume. So hopefully we can get that phone to start ringing. But before we get into that, if you're interested in learning how to approach your job search and your career with more conviction, authority, being in the driver's seat, then check out my free newsletter. And in it, I share concise, actionable tips on how to approach interviewing, job search, resume writing, networking, and career strategy. In other words, if you're interested in becoming the CEO of your career, make sure you check it out. Keep in mind, it's absolutely free. So if you're somebody that has no experience, where do you start? Well, the first thing is I would probably start by getting a very clean template, but I would avoid going with anything that's too loud, too graphical. You have to keep in mind the mission here. Recruiters are trying to find very specific components or skills in your background to make a hiring decision or to put you into the interview process. And if you're loading it down with a bunch of stuff that distracts from the purpose, it's actually making it more difficult. So name of the game here is keep it clean, concise, and simple. So in general, I'm avoiding most resume template sites. If you go in and you type into Google resume templates, chances are you're going to find a site that has a bunch of, I'm gonna say this, a bunch of crappy resume templates that are not helping you. And I can't tell you how many resume templates, especially ones that are pretty expensive, that just do not move the needle and they're just cringy. And I just look at them and I'm like, oh gosh, every one of these has an issue with them. So I would just keep it simple and use something that comes preloaded on your Microsoft Word or whatever system you use. And if you're truly stuck and you want something that's perfectly designed for the ATS system and for recruiters, I actually did create a standalone resume template. You can also find that on my website if you're interested. And inevitably, when people do start writing a resume with no experience, they start throwing everything they can think of onto the page. And again, clean and concise is key here. While it may be tempting to load down your resume with a bunch of fluff, it's actually making it more difficult for us to find what we're looking for. And besides, it actually undermines your credibility because if you're loading down a bunch of stuff clearly you've never done or you're kind of beating around the bush, recruiters can see that from a mile away and you're not going to fool anybody. So I'd say it's better to omit something than to put something in that you don't truly have. Now there's this whole concept about lying on your resume and whether or not you should do it. That there are some things that I hate to use the term lie because that's a little too strong, but I might massage certain things. So like job titles, I might massage them very slightly, but I'm never going up a level in responsibility or down a level in responsibility. And it should be in the same category or same job type. So in other words, say I'm a recruiter, I might change my title to talent acquisition specialist if the job is calling for that. The same thing going with skills. If I know Microsoft Word, for example, and I can learn Google Docs very easily, in other words, I could probably learn it before I even get called into the interview, and the job is requiring Google Docs, but I understand Microsoft Word, and it's really complementary type of systems. They literally look almost identical. Then I could probably put that I know Google Docs because it wouldn't be a very high barrier to entry to learn that before the interview. But keep in mind that everything you put on your resume is fair game in an interview. So if you're fabricating your resume and putting in stuff that you just don't have skill in, you can expect to be called to the carpet and exposed in an interview, and it can be pretty embarrassing, and it's a surefire way to lose the interview itself. So as tempting as it may be, don't lie on your resume. And I made another little video that you should check out if you're interested. But the best thing to do if you're truly lacking the skills for the entry-level job, or you're trying to move into a new career type or new vertical, what I would be doing is trying to figure out ways to get those skills on my resume. In other words, I might be working a part-time job somewhere and demonstrating some of the core competencies that the employers are demanding in the job posting. And if I'm not demonstrating those competencies, is there a way for me to demonstrate some of those competencies and get more involved? Or it could be even volunteering your services. Maybe you belong to a civic organization or a church or something. maybe there's an opportunity for you to get involved and demonstrate that. So in other words, if I'm an accounting major and I've got no relevant experience in accounting, I might go and try to find a not-for-profit, or again, like a church or something, and volunteer my services to help balance their books for them. You're not going to spend a ton of time doing it, but any relevant experience that you can get to put on your resume is going to help move the needle. I'd also recommend that you really focus on what education and certifications you have and look for opportunities to leverage keywords there. So if you went to a university, you probably had some relevant coursework that you could include to at least get some of the right type of experience. Now, I should note, if you're applying for entry-level jobs directly out of college, and the job is requiring that college degree, you have to keep in mind that your competition also likely has that same college degree. So the classwork itself isn't necessarily a differentiator, but you could differentiate yourself on maybe some lab work that you did or a class project that you took the lead on. And this is where you have to get a little bit creative. So dig down, get the keywords that you need, and then try to figure out ways where you actually demonstrated the stuff, even if it wasn't in a work-related setting. And if you don't have the right educational background, you can also try for certifications that might give you the relevant skill sets. Things like Course Careers or LinkedIn Learning has some stuff. There's a lot of places where you can find educational content that can help you get like a course that gives you the keyword that you can put on your resume. And if you're entry level, are there any extracurricular activities that you did? Maybe you're on the leadership committee for some engineering society at your school or something along those lines. That's also a great place to demonstrate those competencies that you can put on your resume as experience. And while I'm not generally a fan of adding hobbies onto my resumes, if you're entry level or you're switching to a new career type, a hobby could move the needle as well. For example, in manufacturing, we used to like mechanical engineers that would tinker on their cars or like build mountain bikes or things like that in their spare time because it demonstrated a specific competency that would indicate success in our job. And our hiring managers actually really like those. So think of the types of hobbies that you have. Is there a way to demonstrate the experience or the competency and see if you can get it onto your resume in a creative way that way? And of course, if you have any awards, recognition, I know that there's some people who are very involved in their local chapters of like certain societies, like for example, like the Public Relations Society. If you're an up and coming public relations person, there's like usually student chapters that you can go in. There's probably ones for engineering, human resources, all these different career types. But the people who are getting involved with that can get really great experience on their resume because they're actively involved in things and they get awarded and recognized and all that stuff. So if you have any of that kind of stuff as well, that's another great place to get that on your resume. So the moral of the story here is that we've got to be creative about getting the right kinds of things on our resume. And the most important thing here is remove all the crap, remove all the fluff. Hiring managers don't like that. Recruiters don't like that. Focus on specific competencies that you possess based on the job that you're applying to. And if I'm applying to jobs with no experience, I'm certainly leveraging LinkedIn to help me get in front of the right recruiters, the right people at the right times. Anyway, everything we do is related to strategy, and an entry-level resume is no different. So good luck with writing your resume. Keep it nice and clean and concise. Don't try to overthink it here, but try to be the best possible fit for the job. And if you're struggling in your job search, I do have some resources that can help. Specifically, I've got a couple of different resume courses. And the first one's called Resume Rocketfuel, and it's designed to teach you exactly how to write a resume, regardless of the level, that will give you the best chance of getting noticed by those recruiters to hopefully get your foot in the door for that first round interview. And that one's really robust because it talks about the strategy and not just physically how to write a resume, which we do talk about as well. But I also created a scaled back version that only focuses on the resume writing itself, and that's called Resume Rocketfuel Essentials. And I'm pleased to announce that I'm hours away from launching my brand new career strategy course. It's called the Ultimate Career Blueprint, and this one's going to be a game changer if you're looking to finally put strategy into your career. You find yourself stuck at a certain level, you're treading water, you can't seem to break into leadership, or maybe you're an entry level and you want the highest degree of strategy and you just don't know how to reach the top of the mountain. This course teaches you exactly how to do that. And I think that this one's the most important one of them all because it truly gives you the keys to the kingdom and teaches you exactly how to become the CEO of your career, probably for the first time ever for a lot of us. You can head over to my website, alifeafterlayoff.com, and check those out if you're interested. Anyway, good luck with the resume writing. If you need more help, check out the resume playlist for additional resources. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you on the next one.